We are recording. So good morning. You have been warned. We are recording. My name is Jim Martin. I am the I don't know, tech support for your library stuff, right? I don't know how to introduce myself anymore. It's been so a while. But good morning, and thank you for joining us. I'm glad we have some people in person and remotely able to join us for our spring user group meeting. These library staff user meetings are a time that we can all like get together, talk. It's a time that we can share either upcoming or things that have been going on in the world of InfoOhio and in the libraries. But it's also a great time that you all can share back and share with each other, ask questions and get answers from each other. So we are InfoOhio's pre-K digital library for electronic resources. We have a vision that each and every student pre-K to 12 should have equal access to high quality digital resources for a successful education in the future. And that InfoOhio's mission is that to transform student learning by providing equal access to those quality resources, cost-effective instructional technical support, and for each student, educator, and parent in Ohio. So welcome in logistics. So again, please feel free to leave your mics open, or if you get noise in the background, of course you can mute and throw things to the chat. We will all be watching that. The logistics here of the Zoom meeting and whatnot. If you're here, you don't need this because you're already connected, but it's thrown in the slide. So when I share out the slide, you have that information. So we are going to actually start off today's meeting with Trish Baker from the instructional side of InfoOhio. She's going to share some new and notable InfoOhio resources. So I'm going to stop sharing and turn this over to Trish.
Okay. All right. So let me get here. Let me move things around on my screen so I can see better. And all right. So as Jim said, I'm Trish Baker. I'm an instructional team specialist with InfoOhio. And today I'm just going to share with you what's new and notable. So this is a QR code, and it's actually a survey link. So if you would scan this, then you could answer the questions. InfoOhio is always loving to hear what you think. So be sure to scan this. It's going to take you to that professional feedback survey just to tell us what you think. And as Jim said, InfoOhio is dedicated to providing quality instructional material to Ohio. And our vision and mission statement, as he said, it's all about equality. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through some InfoOhio updates. Now there's some new things for you to print and share. So new flyers can be found on InfoOhio's main page. That's under the document library, help docs, promotional materials, and then this flyers and posters. But you can also always perform a search in that site search box, type in flyers, and it's going to take you here. These are the two new flyers, and they're to support the curation of instructional materials. We have one here, it's all about educator tools and open space. What's the difference, why you might need educator tools and why you might need open space. And then we also have the Blue Cloud course list flyer. And Blue Cloud course lists, it's an easy way to curate instructional materials and then connect them with students and other educators. And this is if you automate with InfoOhio, you also can use Blue Cloud course lists. Now, Gen Yes Ohio is a program that prepares Ohio students to become student technology leaders through a rigorous technology-infused leadership curriculum. And schools typically implement Gen Yes as a class or a club. Gen Yes Ohio was previously known as just plain Gen Yes, and it was a national program, but that recently closed. So InfoOhio didn't want Ohio schools that were already participating to lose that curriculum. So they acquired Gen Yes Ohio. And in this program, student leaders Students become the leaders at their school. They learn about technology through projects created to support their school's tech integration goals. They develop communication, collaboration, critical thinking, and leadership skills. And then they support teachers and peers by providing mentoring, tech support, and practical leadership to support the learning. So right now, InfOhio is having those Ohio schools that are already using GenYes to still use their ITC for support. But in the 2022-2023 school year, that platform and content will be added to InfOhio's resources, and it's going to be freely available to all Ohio schools. Now, there's some updates on professional development. So there's a new class in the 612 pathway, and the 612 digital content learning pathway is intended for adults working with Ohio learners in grades 6 through 12. It's free professional development, and you can receive contact hours. So teachers are always looking for PD. This is free, online, and self-paced. The classes are available 24/7, and then of course that includes the summer months. So there are currently 10 classes in this pathway, and this is the new one, the World Almanac for Kids, and this is the middle school version. So this class will help educators use the instructional resources offered by World Almanac for Kids to develop inquiry-based classrooms. And after successfully completing the final quiz in this class, you can earn 2 contact hours. There's also a new class in the K-5 pathway, and this just came out this week. And it's Pebble Go Next. So this is a resource for grades 3 through 5. There's standard aligned articles, there's activities, videos, and games in 5 databases. The databases are science, biographies, social studies, states, and American history. And this class will help educators learn how to use the resource and how to integrate Pebble Go Next into classroom instruction. And after successfully completing the quiz for this class, you can earn 2 contact hours. Now, under the Creating Lessons Using Pebble Go Next section of this class, you're going to find 3 pre-made lesson plans that you can be used with Pebble Go Next. And then we've had some new World Book webinars. Starting on March 10th, InfOhio was hosting representatives from World Book to dig in and uncover those hidden gems. On March 10th, it was Hidden Gems of World Book Early Learning in Kids. On March 17th, it was the Hidden Gems of World Book Student. And then today at 3:30, it's going to be the Hidden Gems of World Book Advanced. And there will be one more in this series, and that will be on March 31st, once again at 3:30. And that's going to be the Hidden Gems of World Book Timelines. These are all being recorded. They're 30 minutes long. So if you can't watch this live at 3:30, you will have access to the recording. And then another new thing is the Building Your Digital Curriculum with InfOhio pathway has been transitioned, and it's now called the High Quality Instructional Materials pathway. And a new class has been added there. It's the High Quality Instructional Materials to Supplement Your Curriculum. This class focuses on curriculum literacy and the use of Ohio Curriculum Support Guide. And this one class is worth 5 contact hours after completing the quiz. Now, save this date. It's August 9th, 2022. I know that seems really far out, but that will be an all-day online InfOhio Professional Development Day. And the topics have yet to be determined, but just add August 9th right now to your calendar. And then we'll look at some resource updates. InfOhio has renewed access to the following resources, and that's Pebble Go Next, grades 3 through 5, Capstone Interactive, which is the educators database, No, I'm sorry. Capstone Interactive is 817 interactive ebooks. Capstone Connect is the educator database. World Almanac Kids Elementary, World Almanac Kids, and Today's Science, and they've all been renewed.
Training. I'm in training. Okay, I can come back.
There are 76 new articles in Pebble Go Next, and you can discover new biographies, science, and social studies content. And I have included links in the comments section of this presentation, which you'll have access to. One link is going to take you to the Teach with Info Ohio blog post that tells you all about the updates. But I've also included a link to Capstone, and you can see some of the different articles there. Now we're going to take a look at Storia. Storia is retiring. Scholastic will be retiring Storia, but Ohio users will be able to access all the ebooks included in Storia and more through Scholastic's Literacy Pro platform. That's coming in the 2022-2023 school year. So all schools that have rostered students in Storia will be receiving additional information in the coming months about this transition. Storia will continue to be accessible through August 31st.
Okay,
but
that's
after
a good thing to have, the microwave. So, all right, yeah, whenever.
Okay. Storia will continue to be accessible through August 31st, but after that, it will be Scholastic's Literacy Pro. And then we have Transparent Language Online, and it's for students grades 4 through 12. Online language learning platform. There's over 100 languages, and that includes English. So learners are introduced to a language with listening, speaking, reading, and writing activities. And starting this year, individual teacher licenses have been added to InfoOhio's subscription. So individual teacher licenses allow teachers to assign lessons, run reports, and track student progress. And I've included a link in the comments section that takes you to a Teach with InfoOhio blog post called 3 Ways to Flip Your Language Classroom with Transparent Language Online. So to request a teacher's license, you would click on this I for more information that you see next to the description. And it's going to take you to this information here. This is how your teachers can apply for an instructor account. They have to have an account in Transparent Language Online in order to apply for this instructor account. Once they fill out this form, someone from InfoOhio will get back to them, and then they will see this. They'll have access to an instructor portal. So you can see here, here's where I have the ability to create a class. I can add students, create assignments, and under the Documents tab, you're going to find an educator's guide. You're going to find instructor account instructions, the right way to flip your language classroom, and also a step-by-step lesson on authoring your own assignments. Over 25 new book trailers have been added to Book Nook. They appear on that main Book Nook page as new. And this is one thing that really slowed down during the pandemic, but we're starting to see a pickup again of students creating their own book trailers. And now we're going to look at some resource and tool highlights.
Were you guys using that?
So March is Women's History Month. And did you know?
I'm going to stop you real quick. I'm sorry, I got to stop you real quick. On the, I have to give a shout out on Book Nook, on your little display there.
Yep.
One, the Barnesville one, that the very top 3 or top 2, 3 right there.
Yes, I see that.
Yeah,
They are in.
We do a project. I co-teach with the language arts sophomore English teacher. Where's our Book Nook things? They haven't posted them yet, so they appear this week.
Yes.
So happy.
Yes, they're here this week.
So if anybody wants any help or ideas on how to do that with high school level, I'd be more than willing to help them out with that. But we've been doing that for several years, using Adobe Spark is what we use to create the videos. So,
Cool.
and it's an opportunity to do things with copyright and public domain and things like that. And
Storyboarding.
yeah, storyboarding. So if we've, I don't know, it's probably been at least 4 years worth, maybe 5 that we've done. So
Cool. Okay, thanks for sharing. Again, just had to interrupt that since, you know, she is on the screen and she is in
Yeah.
attendance.
That's great.
Thanks
And
for
if-
your patience.
And if Barnesville would like to see everything they have in here, they could actually do a search for Barnesville and then see everything. Okay, so March is Women's History Month. And World Book student, under the current events behind the headlines, they've been focusing women all month long for Women's History Month. Here you can see a biography and then U.S. women's soccer. But if you would click on this more biographies, you could actually go to biography collections. So we have women's astronauts and aviators, women athletes born in the 1900s, and also women authors. The one thing that I had forgotten about, and I've been attending all the online World Book webinars, was the free material that they offer. So each version of World Book has a training and support link down in the bottom left-hand side, and it's in every level of World Book. So if you would click on that, you're going to see some options and you would choose the trainer's guide. And then you're going to have access to several things. You'd click on free material and teaching topics, and you can see here that they have created units for you, and they are featuring Women's History Month right now. So you can find this in all 3 levels of World Book. And I decided to try Women's History Month and Educator Tools. I'm a big Educator Tool fan. And I did get one result. I kept that in quotes. And what I found was this really neat virtual exhibition. And it was inspired by objects on display at the White House in March of 2021. And the objects and stories in this collection share diverse and inspiring stories of women who have shaped American history. So this was a really nice thing that I did find in Educator Tools. And I want to remind everyone about World Book Web Quests. April is School Library Month, and maybe your kiddos would like to do some research on Dr. Seuss. So web quests are print and do activities designed to help students build their foundational knowledge. They'll learn and practice basic database research skills that will be helpful to them in using other online databases. And this Dr. Seuss web quest can only be found in the World Book Kids. Also, if you're looking for web quests and you don't want to go into each individual World Book, you can go into Educator Tools. In this example, I have just searched for Web Quest Advanced, and then I can find all the web quests that are in World Book Advanced. And as I said, April is School Library Month. So this pairing can be found under Family and Community, but also under Music and Rhymes. And if you would click up here, you would get a lesson plan. And standards alignment can be found at the bottom of every lesson. Of course, we have a pairing for Easter. Easter's April 17th. And April 27th is Coretta Scott King's birthday. So you can find this pairing under People and Places. April's National Poetry Month. So if we jump into Literary Reference Center and do a basic search for poetry, we're going to get 76,000 results. We can always narrow that with my filters on the side. You can see here the publication date goes all the way back to 1800. You can narrow that just by sliding this bar. But you can also search for specific poets. And in this example, I searched for Gorman, Common Amanda, and I got 22 results. We also have very short introductions. This is more for your 11th and 12th graders, a basic search for poetry, and I get lots of results here. And then, of course, we have EBSCO's ebook high school collection. Once again, I did a basic search for poetry and I got 431 results. And once again, I can filter here on the side. I'm going to jump back to educator tools because here you're also going to find things on poetry, a basic search for poetry. And then I filtered using the grade level here on the left to grades 1 and 2. And then I have resources just for grades 1 and 2. You can see here I have Scholastic, I have Read, Write, Think. Here's one, pumpkin poetry. And then I took away that filter. And then I just wanted 9, 10, 11, 12. I only wanted high school. And you can see I have a lot of results there too. As I said, April is School Library Month. So I want to remind everyone about I Wonder. And one of the questions in I Wonder is, do you want to find the perfect book? Here's reading series, reading stories that are true, reading stories that could be true, using your imagination, stories that scare you. And how about that perfect book when you have to read, but you don't want to? So you can find lots of resources here.
I've never had that problem. Sorry.
And then another pairing all about libraries is The Librarian from the Black Lagoon and A Day with Libraries. You can also find that in Bookflix. And we have our School Library Basics Learning Pathway. Right now we have advocacy, collection development, information literacy classes. There's one still to be added, and that's going to be library management. Then I just want to focus a little bit on lessons using primary sources. So in World Book Advanced, if you go to Educator Tools, this in the upper right-hand corner, you can find this Teaching with Documents. These are all lesson plans focusing on one or more primary source image. And then in the digital video collection, if you would search for personal narratives, you're going to receive 5 results. This particular video is an hour long and it's actual footage of London's bombing by Germany, and that was known as the Blitz. This is narrated by Peter Jennings. And I've heard some librarians say that their seniors are doing their papers, so I wanted to remind everyone about those research guides that they can find in Points of View Reference Center. These are 3 of 20, how to understand the bias of publication, how to write a persuasive essay, and also writing a conclusion. Then we have Open Space. It's a curriculum creation and collaboration tool. And to be in Open Space, you do need to create an account. It's a free account. You can find new lesson plans. Right now we have the Cleveland Metro Park Zoo, the Great Lakes Now. They've both been added there. You can also find Be Internet Awesome. You can also find other things on computer science. That's called CS First. You can actually search for those right there, or you could go up to Discover and look at resources, collections, providers, and find lots of information there. Now, InfoHio's listserv went away and it is now found in open space. And you can join this. If you have an account, you can say you want to join. This is where you're going to find all those discussions. Was one just recently in the past few days about a librarian needing good books for 5th graders and 6th graders. And then the different librarians in the InfoHio community were starting to answer back and giving suggestions. So this is a good way to connect with librarians all across the state. But another thing that I wanted to share with you is if you go in there under discussions, you're going to find an elementary webinar that has been registered for Gale in Context Elementary. So you're not going to find this under the Learn with InfoHio. This is something being sponsored by Gale. So if you are a member, you'll find this under the discussions. It takes place on March 30th. If you're not a member, create an account, log in, and ask to join this group. You can always continue that conversation in the community. And if you want to stay up to date with InfoHio, you can always follow that Teach with InfoHio blog. One new item is 3 tips for using InfoHio in a blended learning classroom. And one of the tips here is all about creating your own choice board. There have been 2 Teach with InfoHios on literacy and mathematics classroom. The first one was with Scholastic Magazine. This one's with picture books. There's going to be one more in this series, and the focus is going to be 612. We love to hear your stories. We always want to thank all of those of you who have emails, sent postcards, contacted your legislators, because this is what keeps InfoHio funding available so we can get all these things for Ohio schools. We're on social media. You can find us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And as always, if you need more information, we'd love to help. You can contact us at support.infohio.org. So I'm going to escape out of here. I want to see everyone again. Did anyone have any questions? Did you need me to go live for any reason?
I just have a quick question about where you find the literacy and math information again.
Okay, so I'm going to jump on here on InfoHio site. Okay, I'm going to move this so I can see. There we go. Right here, this hamburger menu, I'm going to go down. Let me move my window here so I can see. There we go. This Teach with InfoHio blog. And when I click there, here I can find that new information about the class. There's your literacy in math.
Okay.
So if you click on these, it's going to take you to the full article.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. Any other questions?
They're shaking their heads here in the room.
Okay.
Wendy, anything else, or Lori? Any? No?
I don't think so.
All right, well, don't be shy. At
Don't be
any time
shy.
in the past, like I said, you know, the way you normally send in questions to ask even me, do it the same way. And if it's something on about one of the InfoHio resources, then I leave it alone and I let the experts over there on Trish and her team to take those and answer and help you out. Okay. Thanks a lot, Trish. Really appreciate you joining us today.
Yep. Yep. It was nice seeing everyone, and let's we all get back to normal.
Yes. That seems to be the mantra of the year, the slogan. Yes.
All right. I'm going to leave everyone, but have a good day.
Thanks again. Bye.
Thank
now.
you.
Uh-huh.
I'll go ahead and share my screen. So that was Trish. Thanks again, Trish. So in the slide deck that I shared out with everybody here, if you click on that where it says click here to view the presentation, and also in the notes down there is a link to Trish's slides as well. And she does a great job of everything that she talked about. She has all that spelled out in the notes. So if you weren't able to follow along or trying to watch and take notes at the same time, it's all there for you. And then again, I just wanted to reiterate with like what Trish said. So previously we had a statewide email list, okay? The service that ran that was discontinued on December 31st, okay? I believe they sent out invitations to everybody asking you, hey, please join. And then to join the InfoHio community group. So you go there. So by joining, you'll get a copy of those newsletters. You'll get notified of those blog posts. They kind of send out little updates about things that they have shared on the social media. They share a lot of that through that the community group. Basically, what you do is you would go to InfoHio, www.infohio.org, right? And then you, like Trish said, you click on that hamburger menu and you find the resource of open space. Once you're there, you could click on that little round dot there to create an account. All you need is a name and an email. Once you're signed in, you would then click on groups and like, for example, I have joined, already joined, but otherwise you can click on groups and you can say see all groups. And when you say see all groups, there we have the very first one, that InfoHio community. So we click on that, request to join, and you can see there's a whole group, whole series of other groups around the state. There are some groups that are kind of like, hey, we're the Southeast Ohio librarians. Hey, we're the Northeast. So even librarians within a community or elementary librarians, let's create a group to share. So if you don't see a group out there, consider creating one, and then you can share across districts, across the state. And as she mentioned, if you then go in, and here I went in, same thing, you clicked on the discussions, you can see the list of what's been shared out. And then you can also see, for example, the replies and the views, and you can follow along. So with this, with open space, you will get the email for that initial question or query. You do not get an email for each and every single follow-up. So your inbox is not going to get flooded. You actually have to take time, go out and follow up on it. There may or may not be a setting. I don't know about that. All I know is the only posts that I get are all of those initial questions. Same with you, okay. And this was just an example I just wanted to show out there, throw out there. These were some of those recent monthly updates that they had shared out with the past couple months of all. These are the kind of things that if you join the open space and you sign up for that, these are some of the kind of notifications that you can expect to receive. So now onto the library, into the library world. So the student information updates within your library software, whether you use Blue Cloud or Workflows, they both connect and have this connect to the same databases, right? So this past January, how to say it? I guess I could read the screen. The process of that where the servers export all of your stuff out of Dazzle or Progress Book. It exports it out and then it sends it over to the library. And then we have a little process that takes and does its thing and loads the kids into the proper buildings, proper grades, giving them the proper permissions in library software. That got moved to a new server, okay, just this past summer or January. So this is just my way of saying, if you notice that anything that just doesn't seem odd or kids aren't loading or weren't loading, I believe I did share this out as an email. I'm pretty sure I did. I don't know. Anyway, if you have noticed anything, please let me know. We did our best to look at the old server, look at the new, look at the old, and compare everything and get everything set up identically. But at the same time, it is running on the new server. And the new server is a different operating system. So everything had to be created from scratch. As part of this, there is an option So on the screen here is an example of an email. It says patron updates 4, and it lists. If you want to receive this email every single day to show any updates that happened, for example, on this email, I can see that I had a new patron that was loaded into my library database. So here we have Jeremy Rodriguez was loaded into the library yesterday. And then at the bottom, the following students had their grade and teacher updated. Okay. If you would like to receive these emails, let me know. I can turn that feature on for you. Again, just to let you know, you will get an email every single day. Now, if there are 0 updates, no new students, no modifications, no nothing, you won't get an email. But if there are any kind of updates in the entire district, not just your building, because you're like, hey, I only care about my building. Yeah, that would be nice, wouldn't it? But it is everybody. So if you're interested, just let me know. Okay. All righty. Ooh, so in workflows, there's a new report, and the new report is called the reading list. So to get to this, we would go into workflows, we would go down to reports and notices, click on schedule new reports, and on the Info Ohio tab, there's a report called CAT reading list. This report will give you an idea of a list of items that have, like, say, not checked out in the last 3 years. Yeah, so basically what it does, let's go in here and look at it. So if we go in and set it up, you would go to the item selection tab, click on the gadget and pick your building. And then down at the bottom, there's 2 date fields. One says date created and the other says date last checked out. It's currently set to M-36. So this is 36 months. So that would be 3 years. So this report is working in months. So right now, if I run this report, it will look for any book that is 3 years old or older. And it has not checked out in 3 years. So it could be 5 years old and hasn't checked out in the last 3 years. It will also look for books that have never checked out. Okay. I have to make that distinction because it's like, well, date last checked out. Hey, I've got a book that's 8 years old, and it's, if you say the date, the last time it checked out was 8 years ago, well, in the database, if it's never checked out, well, that box is actually empty. I can't find nothing. When you tell me to look for a date, it won't look for nothing. So this one has been configured to do that, to do those 2 searches. So if you just click on that little gadget and you can increase it to whatever works for your library. You want 5 years, 5 times 12 is 60. 8 years, oh no, math skills, right? 8 times 12, 96 months. So go in, you just set those to the number of months you want, and you'll get a report that looks like this. The first part of the report is going to be in call number order, and it's going to be based on that criteria you put in of the last, it is more 3 years old or older and has not checked out in 3 years. And then the bottom part of it is also going to be in call number order, and that's going to be a group of all those books that have never checked out. So these books are 3 years old or older, and they've never checked out. And you can use that to go and either read your shelves or go out and look for those books that, hey, this is still a good book. Take it, put it out on display, promote it, encourage some usage. Any questions on that? Okay, so this report can be run. The example I show here is in a Word format, right? It can also be run as a spreadsheet. So if you're a spreadsheet kind of a person, you can totally do that, and then you can like sort and resort so that you can go along and read your shelves. So Blue Cloud is our web-based version of the library software. I know one of our people in attendance is a big Blue Cloud fan here. So if you need to correct me if I do any of this wrong, please let me know, because Wendy is in this like every single day. Sorry, Wendy, giving you props here. All right, so Blue Cloud is our web-based version of the software. So in the circulation module, they have added the ability that you can add a special due date. So just like in workflows, we have this ability that if a class comes in and maybe by default, the books are going to check out for 1 week, and you know that, oh, I'm pretty sure we're going to have a school assembly next week. let's change it to 2 weeks. You can click that special due date, say from now on, and now everything you check out will be due in 2 weeks instead of 1 week. And then of course, after you checked it out, and then the student tells you, oh, by the way, I'm not going to be here next week, so I know my book's going to be overdue. Well, while you're on the checkout screen here, you can go ahead and put a check in that box, and you can edit that due date to a future date. Because I mean, the student has already notified you, I know it's going to be overdue, so hey, let's be a little proactive, right? And change that due date. So those are 2 things that have been added. And we found, I don't want to call it an oops, but there is an option here on renew. So when you're on the screen, you can select a book, click the renew, and it will renew the book. Back in, I'm looking at Wendy, I'm sorry. In January, we discovered it wasn't supporting the special due date. We told Cersei Dynamics, hey, when, I have a special due date, and when I renewed it, it ignored my special due date. And they're like, we can fix that. And they did. Have you had a chance to test it out yet?
Yes, I have. And
And all right,
that's fine.
good. I'm glad to hear that. Also in Blue Cloud Circulation, we have the ability to create a bill. So if a student loses a book or damages a book, you can click on New Bill. You can put in the reason for the bill. If you want to link that bill to a title, you'd put in the barcode number and then the price on the reason why. And then at the same time, in Blue Cloud, we've always had the ability actually to pay the bills. We now have the ability to create those bills. There's another web version of our software called Mobile Staff. Mobile Staff also has a great kiosk feature. So if you're not familiar with Mobile Staff, just a quick plug for it. The kiosk feature allows you to set it up that so a user would come up, it would ask them, prompt them for their student ID number. They would plug in their student ID. It would then unlock the screen. They would then check out the books. They would say return to previous screen for the next user. So you can do self-checkout, self-check-in. They added an enhancement that if in Mobile Staff, if you previously, if you were registering a new person, it was supposed to double check to see if that person was already there and it wasn't quite working right. Not as big a deal for us because we get our students straight out of the student information system, right? But the other part to share is if you use the Mobile Staff on a mobile device, specifically an iOS, it now has the ability to, you can connect to a receipt printer for printing receipts, and they apparently have fixed that. I don't know anyone that uses that, but again, sharing it out. Blue Cloud Course List. Blue Cloud Course List is something that came along about a year or so ago. Basically, what it allows you to do is you can go out and search the internet, search the web, and create a hierarchical list of links. I know you can very easily do something like this, take it, dump it into a Google Doc, share it, put it in Google Classroom. One of the great things about Blue Cloud Course List is it would make it, if you use this in your school district, it could standardize the look and feel across all grades. And I'm going to actually exit out of the presentation here real quick because I think I've got a link down here that I forgot to open up earlier. I just want to show you how it actually works. So the way it would work is you would go to a, thinking about it. This is my disclaimer where I say it isn't my link. Someone shared this with me. This was where I admit that I did not think to test it ahead of time. But you actually install a tool on your laptop. You can, my mouse is hovering over this little thing that says add to my list. So I could go to, since Barnesville is in attendance, I'm going to click on, I'm going to pick on Barnesville. But I could look for my book on horses. And when I see one that I like, or not, when I'm on the results screen, I can say add to my list. And I could then pick which one of these books on horses that I want to be able to then add to my list. So this is another way that in the iSearch, I've had people ask again, can I get a direct link to a book? And yes, this will actually get you a URL and a link specific to a specific title in your library. And you would add that to your list. And then eventually, all right, and it doesn't want to, it's being silly. Let me see if I can. Oh, now I'm going to be put on the spot. I don't remember my username and password. And I can't remember. It also comes down to, I can't remember which of all my username and passwords that that class was listed to. And is it going to show up? All right, so here we go. Here, if this was my list, here's my book on horses. Here's my book on my YouTube videos. You can take this and share this out. So go to student view. This is how it would. Oh, this is just extremely frustrating. Well, it's not supposed to, it's supposed to pop up and be nice and pretty, and it'll look just like this, all nice and right, with these little collapsible things, and then you could tell the people, you could organize them into folders. You could then expand the iSearch, and you would click on your horse title, and then it would take you straight into your library catalog. It's not just for the library catalog. You can link basically anything that has a URL. So YouTube videos. If this is, I think it would be really cool for your summer reading list. You can link to the titles. You could link to your public library who might have a copy. You can link to your school library. You could link to the proper edition in Amazon if you want the students to purchase the proper edition. Anything that's got a link, it can be done that way. So that is iSearch. Mhm.
Like, so you would have like, so I would create the list, then everybody would have access, like all the staff would have access to that, or it's my list and I have to share the list?
You could create the list, or we can or the teachers can actually set up their own lists. Basically, we would create an account so that they can log into workflows. So, I'm sorry, into Blue Cloud. That's the only point that they would have access to. They would come in, create that original list, go out and curate their resources. They could then come back into Blue Cloud, organize them, okay? And then when it's ready, when it says go to student view, they would get that URL from the student view that is being a brat, and it would then take it, oh, I know why. Okay, it would then take this and you could put that into Google Classroom, and that's what they would share out.
So you have to have an account for Blue Cloud too.
Yes, but it's something we would create that for you. You would just give us a list of your teachers. We could go ahead and create that, set up like a default password. When they log in, they could actually come in here and change their password if they want to make it something they remember. If you want it to be something that you guys like work together with, I believe we can set it up in such a way that you could see all of their lists so that you can work with them. Maybe they put together the list and you kind of come together and organize and make things like in a systematic way, if you wish. And if you're at all curious, the two Blue Cloud or Blue course list experts there, they would be more than at Beckett Info. I would be more than happy to work with you, tailor it to what you want and what you need. I know, as you can tell, I know about this much about it. I knew more about it back in November when I built this list, and you don't use it, you lose it. So I'm gonna have to brush up on my course list. But I do see it like for the sections, when you come into these, you can actually, I believe these can be taken and set up in such a way that you can actually schedule when they appear, meaning that maybe you're putting this together for the semester, and maybe this first one is September, and this is October, and this is November. It can actually be set up to, you're only going to allow it to be displayed at a certain time, and you go in and turn them on, turn them off as needed.
When you start with magazines and kind
Yes,
of push that out first.
yes,
When the videos.
yes. Yes, and this is also a really neat way that you could curate and kind of promote your collection as well. You could do them, like we just had Black History Month, and then we have Women's History Month, and then Right to Read Week. You could put together collections like that as well. I'm sure you can probably think of a lot more uses, how it supports your school, but it's kind of neat. Like so, and I guess one of the neat things about it is, if you do use it and if you do promote it, it makes it the same format systematic across the district as well. So, Camille did a cute little GIF here. So as you can see, she searched her catalog. Let's go ahead and continue looking at it. She looked, she found, she added it to her list. And then she went to the student view, and then there's the list showing everything of what she just added. So it's not like it has to stop and process overnight. It is instantaneous. You're building it as you go. So that's Blue Cloud course list. And I believe Trish kind of touched on these. We do have a new updated flyer on the Blue Cloud course list. So you can go the flyers that Trish showed us earlier, and that's one of the new flyers that came out. And again, we're always happy to talk with you, chat with you, work with you one-on-one on this. Something else that we tried out this past year was another web-based version of our library software. So if you're counting, that's 3. Okay, we have our Blue Cloud, we have our mobile staff, and we're trying out something called Symphony Web. Symphony Web is actually a web-based version of workflows. It looks just like workflows. It reacts just like workflows. Has all the same functions and everything as workflows, because it is workflows living in a website. Okay. What we were looking at on this is Blue Cloud at the moment does not have any reporting features available. If we want to run any kind of reports of any kind, we have to go into Blue Cloud. I'm sorry, have to go into workflows. The workflows is great. It does its job. It's been around for about 14 years now. It's kind of showing its age, okay? But it does what it needs to do. I mean, we're libraries. We're not exactly on the cutting edge here, okay? We still read things on paper, for goodness sakes. But again, I'm a librarian. I love it. I'm just joking. You do know that, right? Okay, just check it. All right, so, but the tech people, every fall, that when you get a new computer, they have to install workflows. The whole idea or hope is that maybe the Symphony Web, by making it available in a web page, your tech people don't have to install anything. Everything would be available through a web browser. And if it's available in a web browser, that also means it's available on a Chromebook. Because right now, workflows only works on a Mac or a PC. So we did a pilot this past year, and we had one school from each ITC kind of help us out. And it was New Philadelphia. No. Oh, goodness gracious. I'm going to be embarrassed. Maybe it's Indian Valley. Maybe it was Michelle. Oh, goodness gracious. I really should look this up before I came here. My bad. Anyway, someone from OME-RESA did, like, so I'm so embarrassed, I can't remember. I'm drawing a blank. I'm staring at Lisa, and she's like, I don't know who it was. She's like, me. Anyway, we did have someone here work with it for us. And again, for day-to-day, it works. The reports kind of work. There's some, it's goofy. Anyway, long story short, we are looking at possibly making this as a service. Right now, the downside is that there would be an additional cost at the moment for this. The feedback we've gotten from most of the districts of, hey, workflows, it works fine because it's free. If there's an additional cost, I don't see any reason to pay something extra for something else that already works. So we are exploring and trying to get that cost down. When we have a better answer, we will promote this and let you know. I don't know, I know, I feel like I've just babbled about that. Any questions on what this is or why we're doing this? No? Okay. Oh, there it is. There's a nice summary of the pilot. So we started the pilot back in 21, 35 participants. Again, focusing to make sure that it works the same. We had some weekly activities that we asked them to do to try it out and compare it to workflows. And then we took that and we gave the feedback back to the Sorcy Dynex to see if we could get any enhancements. And we also asked for feedback from the participants as well as their technology department. Fetch. Fetch is the online catalog that we rolled out this school year for the lower grades. So in Fetch, when you do a search, there is a gear there that you can click on for advanced features. And in this example, for example, we did a search for Dave Pilkey, who last month had a birthday. So to promote Dave and his books, he had a birthday last month, so we thought we'd do a search for his name. For Fetch, Trish talked about this school libraries basics learning pathway. There is a, in that learning pathway, there is a lesson on Fetch. So it'll show you how to use Fetch. It also includes, this is, sorry, I'm gonna have to go live here because Jim did a silly thing. He forgot to include, I forgot to include my printout, my notes from today, which is really embarrassing. So let me bring this up, bring it over here. Go down to Fetch. Because in the school learning basics pathway, there are lesson plans on how you can use this with the students. And they have some exercise. So they have ways to, locating Fetch, using the visual search within Fetch, using the simple search, advanced search, and using it with grades 3 to 5. They also have learning path exercise files that you can use with your students, including Fetch for Students that has an outline for students in grades 3 to 5 that they can follow along as they learn how to use Fetch. There's Fetch Skills, where the students can use this to assess what they have learned. And then there's another one called Find and Fetch, which is an activity to keep students on track when searching for items in the library using Fetch. So these are all hands-on based things that you can use with your students. Fetch, oh, I'm on the wrong screen. Fetch is customizable. So it defaults and shows up with a black background like this, which is called Fetch Dark. But we also have multiple other colors as well. So there's Fetch Dark with some results. That is the default. If you find that a little too dark, we also have Fetch Light available. Any of these options you want, just let me know. We'll change that. It can be, these changes can be made building by building, or if you want it made district-wide, we can enforce it district-wide as well. So there's Fetch Light with the results. We have Fetch Animals, and every single day there's a new animal. We have Fetch Kids. And then there's even a Fetch Kids that's animated. You can see their little heads bobbing along. I think I'd get real tired of that, but if the kids are only coming in once a week and using the library, they might have some fun with that. And there's that with the results. We can also support your school colors. So if you want your school colors to be the main backgrounds and the leading text, we can do that as well. So those are the customizations. And Fetch, as a reminder, across the top, we have 4 icons. And the third one is kind of the yellow one. It's called the visual search. You can click on there and the students can just find and drill down to find their books. We had that in Cat Junior before, so we're supporting that. And then the second button at the top is the reading level. I really should take those and put them in the other order, but we right now it supports searching for books with that have Lexile scores, accelerated reading, reader, and reading counts. So you would put in your search term, you would put in your range of what you're looking for, and it'll search your catalog to see what you have in your library. And there we go. And on this results screen, you will see that the points are displayed right there on the quick result screen. Sorry, catching up with my notes. iSearch and widgets. iSearch and Fetch both have widgets available. A widget being if you want to put a search box for your library on your, if you have a school library page, that you can put this on your school library page. So you can have a little search box that says, search Barnesville High School. They type in their topic, it'll open a new tab and go straight to iSearch and give you the results. And there's a widget there for both, for iSearch or Fetch. So actually, if we go ahead and we're going to go ahead and click on this, first thing you would want to do is make sure that you are logged in as your building into the InfoHio website. So here at the top, you can see I'm just logged in as OME-RESA. Again, because Barnesville is attendance, I'm going to pick on Barnesville today. Lisa's used to me picking on her, so I think she's fine with it. So once you're logged in, there I am, I'm logged in here, then you can come down and you can, we have two tabs here. We have iSearch and we have Fetch. So I'm on iSearch. You can decide what you want that, see that button down there says search? I can switch out to say search now. Or you can say, search the school library. You can customize what that tab actually says. You decide whether or not you want the results to open it up in a new window. You can search district-wide, or you can search the one building. Now that you've set that up, you're going to come over here, highlight all of this. You're going to take that, you're going to copy it, you're going to put that, go to your website and your school website, and paste it. And I'm trying to do that, and I don't know where my, all right. Here we go. Goodness gracious, it's not what I meant to do. I'm going to paste that. I'm going to take that file, let's save as barnesville.html on my desktop. Save. So here's that little thing that I just created. And look, there it says search your library. I can search for my horses. And we went to the Barnesville High School and it opened up in a new page. So obviously you can say, I just created a teeny tiny little web page here, but this would be the box that you would take and you could, this is what it would look like as an inset into your school library site. Back to our presentation. And then of course we had the same options available for Fetch. All right. Statistics. We're getting near the end of the year. As we get near the end of the year, a lot of times it's you might find it beneficial to let your administration know what you've been doing all year, right? So a couple of things that we have available to you is you can get usage statistics on several of the InfoHio electronic resources, as well as how many times iSearch or Fetch has been used during the semester, quarter, week, day, school year. So what you would do is you would go to the website stats.infohio.org. You would select a resource and get your enter in some criteria and go. So let's see how that would work. So if I go to stats.infohio.org, I would get a screen like this. And I can, the top one is to get the InfoHio digital resource dashboard. The next one down, and someone is calling me. We use Zoom phones in the office, so my Zoom telephone just rang. Hopefully they don't need me. Anyway, I would click the second one here to get the stats on iSearch and Fetch. Otherwise, it could go BookFlix. The InfoHio resources we can get stats for are BookFlix, Chilton Library, Galen Context Elementary, the InfoHio website in general, Storia, Transparent Language, Online, and Capstone. People have asked for more. We have asked for more. These are the vendors that are able to work with us and get us statistics based on either your district or your building. So I'm gonna, for example, click on BookFlix. And when I do, I'm gonna get a screen that looks something like this. At the very top, it'll say choose a report. And it is going to give you the date range of here is the full range of dates that I can get information from. So the oldest is July of 2016, and the newest when I did the screenshot was February of 2022. I'm sure that's probably a little more recent. I took the screenshot a couple of weeks ago, to be honest. From the drop down, I can see it's on BookFlix. You go in and set your date range. So I went all the way back to the beginning of the school year, September 1st, and I went through March the 31st. Then here down in step 3, you click on that additional options. You can then, for step 4, from the drop down, select OME-RESA. And if you know your school district's institution, you could type it in. Most likely the first time, you're not going to know the exact match on what to put in. Like, is it Barnesville or Barnesville exempted or Barnesville exempted schools or what, right? So if you, let's just click on show, and you're going to get a list to see everyone that's linked to OME-RESA, okay? And then you can then see, and of course, you're not on the first screen of results. There is a scrolly here, so I would have scrolled down and you could find yours. If you do a date range, there's going to be one line for each month of data. So you could then go in and look at yours one at a time, or there is an option down here that you could download a spreadsheet. And if you do download the spreadsheet, sort by school, delete everybody else, and you get just yours. Or you now know what your name looks like. And on this previous screen, you can put your name in that last box and get just your stuff.
So Jim, is this done by school district or by school?
Most of these are done by school district.
Okay.
Yes, I'm sorry. I just had to remember the InfoOhio electronic resources are definitely district-wide.
Okay.
Our next example of statistics is for iSearch or Fetch, the online catalogs. Those can be either district-wide or building specific. You're going to need to know two things. You're going to need to know your iSearch profile and your Fetch URL. I'm pretty sure no one here has those things memorized. So what you would do for iSearch, go to your iSearch catalog, and there at the very end of the URL, you're going to see the last bracket of OMER, which stands for OME-RESA, underscore the first two initials of your district, and then underscore your building specific. So this would be OME-RESA underscore Barnesville underscore Barnesville Elementary. So so I'm going to copy that. And then I'm going to go to Fetch. I know I'm going to grab those same three pieces of information. OME-RESA /BA/BAES. And then I'm going to go back to that stats.infohio.org. I'm going to tell it that I want iSearch or /Fetch information. And there's going to be, it's going to look like this. So the top one, that was fun, is you can see I pasted in my Fetch URL. So I did set my date range, leave the middle of the query thing to page path plus query string contains, whatever that techno babble is, and then you paste in your profile. The top one is Fetch and the bottom one is Barnesville. Now, because again, Barnesville in the room, if I wanted the entire district, I would backspace and just do OME-RESA /BA, and I would get Barnesville High School, Barnesville Elementary, I'd get all the buildings, okay? And when you do, you'll get a display that looks like this. You're gonna get one or the other. So if you search for iSearch data, it'll display the iSearch. If you search for Fetch, it will display the Fetch. I kind of did both at the same time and superimposed it, okay? But this is what it's going to look like. For example, on the iSearch, we had 34 sessions with 97 views. So that means I had like 34 times that someone came up to the computer, launched a search, and they clicked, and then of those 34 searches, they clicked 97 times. And same with Fetch. They launched 15 sessions and then they clicked 47 times to look, explore, and look at data. So does anyone want to look at that? You find it interesting? Possibly, maybe I'll try it out on my own later. Okay. I would like to offer to.
It sounds like it might be a phone call.
Yeah, it can be kind of fun to see what's being used.
Yeah.
And then as we're getting to the end of the year, we do have these end of the year tasks that we're going to encourage everyone to do. In the folder, I will be sharing this out with everybody, okay? There's a list, a detailed list on how to perform these steps. The first one, talk about the calendar and the CRD. Actually, I've got all of these listed here, but I actually broke them out on the different tabs so we can kind of concentrate. For on the calendars in your, if you know what your school calendar is for next year, if you could please go ahead and send that to me. Either email me directly or email it to the support, it doesn't matter. If you send me your school calendars, I will then be able to take your school calendars and put them into the software so that we know when your school is closed next, the dates are closed next year. Part of that is also this thing known as the compulsory return date. Fun word. So we just call it the CRD. It's easier. Basically, it's what do you want your last due date to be for the school year? For most of you, it has already been set for this year, but if you want that changed or if you don't know what it is, let me know and I will gladly tell you. Typically, if you don't send me one, typically what I do is I will go in, we'll pick a date 2 weeks before your last, I'll look at the day of your last day of your kids and I'll back it up 2 weeks, because that's what I found that most people do is, you want to start getting those books back. Again, if you want it sent earlier, that's fine. An example of the way the compulsory return date works. Let's say, for example, maybe you're, we set our CRD date to May the 13th. Well, May the 13th is a Friday. So let's say students come in on May the 1st. They check out a book and it's due normally for 1 week. So it'll be due on May the 8th. So they come in on May 1st, it's due on May 8th. Great. But now they come in on May the 8th and it goes to check out for a whole week. Well, that's May the 15th. But our CRD date says, no, we're using May the 13th. So when it's checked out on May the 8th, boom, a due date of May the 13th is used all the way up. And so even if you check out a book on May the 11th, a due date of May the 13th is used. You check out a book on May the 13th, May the 13th is used. You check a book out on May 14th, it goes back to the normal way of doing things because you have opted to ignore your last checkout date and go back to doing things, okay? So that's kind of the way the CRD functions. It is a required field in the software. If you don't like it, just tell me that you want it and I'll set it to like June the 30th, something like outside of the school year. And that way it doesn't even like do anything for you. If you want, you can also go in, we have give you directions on how you can go in and generate a list of all the students that are either currently expired or will be expiring as of July 1st. Those would be the seniors that are graduating. Because on July the 2nd, we will go in and we will remove all the students that have left the school district and or graduated. Unless if they owe you money or if they owe you a book, our script will not delete them. But maybe there's a student that will be returning next year and you want to make sure that you don't lose any of that history. This is a chance for you to go in, get that list and you can see everyone that's going to be removed. Does that kind of make sense? Okay. If you are have your reports set up to be emailed out automatically on a weekly, quarterly, monthly basis, whether to the students or the parents, you will want to go in and suspend that. It's real easy. Like I said, we'll send you the directions. You go into workflows, you go down to your scheduled report, and there's a button there that says suspend report. You click that and you just pause it. You can either pause it or you can say, hey, make the next time this runs September the 10th. And then next school year on September 10th, it'll just pick up and start all over again. You may want to stop and run a list of books that are long overdue, meaning more than 1 or 2 weeks. Maybe they were due back in October or September, November. And go ahead, you can run that list of those that are long overdue, and then you can go in and consider marking them as lost. And when you do mark them as lost, you are actually then billing the student for the replacement cost of that book. It's kind of amazing how quickly books start to come back with instead of sending a, hey, you have this book, it turns into, hey, you owe me this money. All of a sudden books start to be found. It is amazing, isn't it?
Jim, is that a report that's already set up that's easy to access?
Okay, the mark item due lost is something you have to do one student at a time.
That's fine. Okay.
But basically you can run that list to say, find me those students that have those books that were due like more than 4 weeks ago.
That's something I don't know how to do.
Well, something, I will be sending this out, and
It will be in there. Okay.
here's how you can do it. And what's really cool is actually the, yeah, so you can do that. And then here's the steps on how to mark them lost. So yes,
Okay. Thank you. I love your list.
thank you. You can also run a list and find those books that have those dreaded up. I kind of got, I went to highlight it and I ended up going through those dreaded XX call numbers. And an XX call number is a reminder when we're cataloging and we import a record from SmartPort, it comes in with a default call number that has X's in it as a placeholder. And if you cataloged and you forgot to change those call numbers, this is just, you know, a good end of the year cleanup so you can fix those call numbers. So we have a report that shows you how to find those.
Jim, I have a question, not exactly related to that. I have checked out several books recently that were listed in the catalog as an electronic resource, even though they are not. And I can't figure any way to correct that. Is that an easy fix or something I need to call you about?
It should be an easy fix. So yeah, send me an example so I can look at it and we'll, because I can think it.
Started to see that more than once, and so I think it's something I need to learn.
Okay, it's one of 2 different things, but yeah, if you send me one example, we'll find out exactly.
Okay.
And if it's an easy thing, I might be able to like say, find everything that says electronic resource and change it back to book. I might be able to do that for you.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Titles that have no attached items. So this again would be maybe you started the cataloging process, you went into SmartPort, you found the record, you imported it, and then surprise, you got interrupted and you walked away and you never finished. Okay. And then maybe you came back and you forgot that you imported a record. So you went out and you found another record, you imported it. And now we got this extra record just out there floating around. So during the summer, I will go through. So this was a way for you to go out and find those floating records that you imported and forgot to finish with. And if you need to finish, go ahead and finish. Otherwise, if you just leave them alone, this summer as part of my cleanup, I will go through and I will delete anything that doesn't have a barcode attached. Okay. Because it pretty much comes down to, you know, if you found it once, you can find it again, right? Same resources. Check the transit items wizard to see if there are any books that are that were returned to the wrong location. So that again, as a reminder, would be maybe we'll pick on the middle school here today instead. Indian Creek, maybe one of your books, a little brother, little sister decided, hey, this looks like fun to read, and they read it, and then they returned it to the elementary. If they check it in at the elementary, it's now in transit to your building, but they may have not noticed, and they stuck it on the shelf. So this is a way for you to track down your stuff and get your stuff back in your library. And then lastly, just as a reminder, you know, just maybe consider going into reports. As you run reports, you may be creating templates like as needed, and you may find out that you have like 8 reports that all say overdues and notices. Well, you know, maybe keep the most recent and maybe consider getting rid of the others, because otherwise you come in, you look at them, you're like, all right, there's 8. Which one do I can't remember which one to use. So I'm going to start a new one. So yeah, just kind of maybe do some cleanup there. A couple weeks ago, we sent around a video about how to do inventory. So if you have time, you may want to consider inventory your library. there's a total of like 7 steps. I think the video is about 45 minutes long, and it walks you through all of these steps. And the instructions, of course, are out here on the InfoHio website. So if you prefer written instruction, I clicked the wrong one. It's under special tasks. And it's here under inventory. So if you prefer the written, which I totally get, I would totally take these, print them out, and then take along and sit and watch the video and follow along. We go through each one of those steps, explaining it to you, running it, showing an example, talking about what you got and why, and basically the end result is how to inventory your library. Has anyone had a chance to look at that video or is considering inventorying the library?
Not yet, but I thought I would do it as a refresher.
There you go.
I would need to do that.
Okay. Did you get you did get the link to the video, correct?
And I'm bowing out for lunch duty.
Okay, Wendy, we'll see you.
Thank you.
And Lori's like, I think maybe I got that link.
I don't know if I got the link or not. I'll have to look back and see.
Okay, I'll send.
Last year I did all the steps through, like I have my what's missing.
Mhm.
We're still looking. I don't think we're gonna find anything. So I'm to the point where,
Time to get rid of
yeah,
them.
like this month will be the last time we really try to find things, and then probably mark everything missing that's missing.
Yes.
That's kind of where we're at.
So they probably have already been marked as missing and you're still doing one last
Yeah,
find.
one-
Yes.
yeah,
And actually in the video, we talk about the idea of doing that, taking a year and then if you, about this time next year, go ahead and run that pre-inventory one of, hey, here's everything marked missing. It's probably been a while, go ahead, contact me and we can then mass delete them from the system for you. Because yeah, like I said, you gave it a year. At some point, they're gonna have to go bye-bye, right? Now, I do want to, as a reminder, anything that is marked as missing is what's called shadowed, so it does not show in Fetch or iSearch. So just to let you know, by Lisa deciding to mark them as missing and keep them in there all year long, her students have no idea that those books are missing because they're not showing in the online catalog. So, which is kind of a good thing, right? We don't need to publicize that we don't know where stuff is at. Well, yeah, or I mean, it's written. I'm joking. It's really the frustration of they go to look and then oh look, there it is. Oh, it's missing. Yeah, it's that we're not giving that disappointment. That's really how it is. So yeah, I was just curious because as you watch it, you may recognize the voice. You may not. It was me. So I was just, and we were also just curious if it was working for you. I also realized that probably most schools will probably start the inventory process probably in another like 3 or 4 weeks. Users Council, and here I'm again looking at Lori, looking at Lisa. So we actually have 2 because Lori, you're a User Council rep also, correct? Thank you. I thought she was. So there was a recent meeting and Lisa, I'm sorry, yeah, I'll turn it over to Lisa.
Yeah, so the meeting, I recording because something came up and I missed the actual meeting, but a lot of the things that we talked about at the meeting were discussed in Trisha's presentation about the new learning pathways and Victoria being retired, transitioning to Literacy Pro. And most of the feedback of the people that attended the meeting, I'd use it, but if there's a fee, forget it. That was, everybody was kind of on that line and like, absolutely not. They changed their guidelines for the council and we have 1 vote for OME-RESA. And so I was glad we had this meeting because the voting closes tomorrow. But basically it was just changing some minor wording, nothing really major, like instead of a governing advisory board, they want to change it to InfoHio Advisory Board. So it's like, okay, tit-tat kind of thing.
Yeah.
And like, instead of 5 components, there's 4 components because they reworded it. It's got up on the screen. And the one thing I guess that was maybe significant is that if we don't have certified librarians that will step up to be representatives, then we can involve classified people or non-certified members to support if they're supported by a certified person. So it kind of gives people who are non-certified an opportunity to serve on the users council as opposed to just the certified people. That's pretty much the differences. Like they changed the word IVDL to Zoom. So anyway, we're supposed to come to a consensus whether we accept these changes or not, and then I will proceed and I'll submit the form to cast our vote. So
Great.
I guess, what do you guys think?
Yeah, I guess, I guess we could say, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right.
All right, so
The
I
ayes
will
have
say
it.
that we're in favor.
And you'll take care of the voting for OME-RESA. Okay, thank you. Cynthia, are you also, who else, are either one of you user council, Lori or Cynthia? I can't remember.
Yes,
No?
I am.
Cynthia is, okay. So,
It listed 4 people from here, but I can't remember what they.
yeah, I know on the third one of them is Colette at Lisbon. She's actually retiring this year. And now I can't remember the fourth. I think it's Ashley Claxon from New Philadelphia. Yeah, it's Ashley. So we actually have, so I guess, Lisa, do you want to continue on the, so we actually need to move on as to, we need another representative. So Lisa, do you want to continue? Okay. Cynthia, do you want to continue for another session?
Yes, I can.
Okay. Well, Wendy had to leave. Laura, if there's anyone else that's interested, Carla's like, no, I've been on the job for what, a month now. I'm not going to take that on. I don't know, Lori, if you're interested. If not, we'll throw it out to the whole crew. If anyone who's interested, I'm not going to put you on the spot, Lori, I promise. But if anyone is who's watching this, I will send out a query. We do get an extra representative. It does not require a large amount of time.
It's basically there's a spring meeting. They are talking about having the one, I think there's a summer meeting. I think they're talking about maybe doing in person in the summer, but they kind of like, they got some feedback and people were like,
Kind of still on the fence.
So, but it's really,
And even then, it's optional. Like Lisa said, she wasn't able to attend live, so she watched the recording.
now I do think that if they do make it live in the summer, they're not gonna do double, like it's gonna be one or the other, but, it's basically just attending a couple meetings, a year, and you kind of get information beforehand. The other thing that we did at the meeting this last time was they asked for feedback on like the I button on Ohio, like when you, the list of sources, and there's an I button. And so they didn't want to eliminate the I button, but people don't know what the I button stands for. So they kind of gave us some options to give some feedback on it. Like, so like if you look at what Jim has up on the board, like
So
down at the bottom, like you'd hover over it and there would be a button that says learn more in the bottom right hand corner. That's kind of the one that everybody liked.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I mean, the point is just that the users council is a time when they come to you and look for, hey,
Yeah.
feedback, how, hey, how would this work in a school? Would it or wouldn't? Well, it's a time and place where they can get feedback on what works best for the schools.
Right.
So I do remember that. So yeah, so right now you have to click on that and you get a new screen. So they're wondering, is there a better way to get people to see this additional information that has all of this extra that goes with the resource? I mean, that's kind of like what it was about, right?
Yeah. And then there was another one, they were adding like a button that opens, and some were 2 clicks and one was 1 click, and like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Teach people how to do things. Where you need to go, but some people were very I like this.
Okay. Just, I'm not gonna say. Get myself in trouble if I finish that sentence. All right, thank you, Lisa. Cynthia, did you have anything that you wanted to add? If you were able to attend or?
I wasn't able to attend in person. So what is nice though is if you're on the user council, right now they've been doing it online, but they're looking to do in person and online. So you have the two options. But what is nice is they give you the live feed as well to watch later. And then they also have the PowerPoints and so forth. So of course, if you don't attend live, you don't exactly have your input in place live, but you're able to keep up that way and put your input in later if you had any questions.
Yes, that's true. They are more than happy to listen afterwards as well, because again, they're looking for feedback.
An open space group.
Surprise, it's an open space.
Yeah.
No, I'm joking. It's because we talked about open space earlier, right? Yes, so they've got a nice open space that another one that would be available to. Well, thank you, everyone. I appreciate that. So again, I'll throw out one more plea to anyone out there and listening in library land. If you want to be a representative to support the librarians in the school here in the OME-RESA land, let me know. What else do we have? And then I really just have a time for sharing and discussion of, is there anything that you all are doing in your buildings that you want to share or ask or anything like that?
This isn't in my building, but I served on the OME. OME is the Ohio Educational Library Media Association's. So it's like the library organization that represents Ohio. And we have awards. And one of the awards that we have is called Read On. And we have opened at any public library or school librarian can nominate students who have an enthusiasm for reading. There's like 4 or 5 characteristics and they have to meet like at least 2 of them.
Mm-hmm.
So if you have a student out there, it's by region and it's also, there's a grade band. So there's, I think 16 total in the state, but they're trying to like kind of beef up the nominations and things, and they pick so many from each area. So if you have a student who really is just like in the library, always getting that book or promoting books with other kids, or they're always in your makerspace or whatever, the awards page is on OME's website, which is OME.org. And you go there and you can nominate a student for that honor. I think it's like a $50 gift card, but they make a big to-do at our conference. And
I remember them at the
stuff.
conference, the kids and
So-
their families showing up and they
Right.
got their presented.
which of course with COVID, we've kind of had to eliminate that, but the conference is in person this year again in October. I've been a member for years for OME. They're a great advocacy group for libraries in our state, and good ideas for professional development. So if you want, information about the organization, that's all on they just switched it to the website. We're kind of becoming more self-managed as we die out in numbers, but professional development and advocacy for librarians and school libraries is basically the main purpose for the organization. So, but yeah, that award has been opened up to public librarians as well, making nominations this year, but Read On. So if you have somebody that fits that, try to get them some
Get some kudos.
acknowledgement for their reading.
Good point. Thank you. Lori or Cynthia, do you have anything you want to share or ask or what's going on in your building or not building or?
I've been just totally overwhelmed all year. We started out the year, cleaned out the library, took down the shelves, lost the carpet, new shelves, new books, new. What do you do with all the old books? What's the limit on how old an encyclopedia should be? What do you do when you have 12 sets of encyclopedias? just been overwhelmed. I'm hoping next year will be a little bit easier. Can't be any harder.
Yeah.
So it's just been a sorting and major mess.
It
So
certainly sounds like it.
just holding my head up over water.
Well, keep going. We're rooting for you.
Thanks. It's beautiful.
Good.
Say that.
Worth the effort. Good to hear it. Well, Cynthia, what you been up to, lady?
I have a group of students. I don't know if you'll be able to hear me or not. You guys. Honestly, this year it's been a little bit of a struggle. We're still trying to get caught up with after being the COVID years and so forth. My circulation counts is growing some. Actually, this year we've done better at circulating the graphic novels and the Chromebooks than what we have done in the past. Nothing real new and exciting this year from what I've done in the past. I'm going to probably start up my makerspace again, hopefully this spring. And get that started here in the next couple of weeks. That kind of was on the back burner for a while. Other than that, nothing really to report. Just one of those years.
All right. Well, thank you. I appreciate your sharing, both of you. Because this is pretty much the end of my regularly scheduled program here. Oh, I guess I do want to share out, just so you know, so future meetings and trainings. I mean, we're still in March here. So before the end of the school year, my goal is by May 1st, I want to have answers to these two questions shared out to everyone. We will be doing some, what to do with, training for new people in the fall, and also hopefully pick a date for our user group for the fall before the end of the school year, so we can have it on our calendars. Okay. And then also we'll put together a list of other trainings that we're going to be offering through the year. So if there's anything that you can think that you need that hasn't been offered in the past, please let me know so that I can put together a training in class or a sharing of some kind. And of course, and these are the same about staying connected, going to the survey, following us on the various socials. And as always, you know where to find us, right? So let me go ahead and stop the recording. And